Hi there, my name is Legia. I'm a YouTuber and real-life lawyer on a mission to demystify the law and how it affects your everyday life. I am so excited to be here today on SLMD's channel to talk all about skincare and regulations. That might not sound like the sexiest topic, but it's actually fascinating to learn about the laws that have been written specifically about what companies like SLMD have to put on their labels for their cosmetics. And it gets even more interesting when you start comparing what a place like the US requires versus what a place like the UK requires. If you were to get the same bottle of, for example, SLMD's glycolic acid body scrub from the US and one from the UK, you'd notice that even though the formulation is the same, the list of ingredients looks slightly different. Or you might notice in the US, SLMD has a product called salicylic acid spot treatment, but in the UK, the same product is called salicylic acid spot corrector. Why is that? Let's talk about it. Okay, let's start with the US. What requirements do labels on cosmetics in the US have to meet? Well, it's helpful to first define what even a cosmetic in the US is. In the US, cosmetics are articles intended to be rubbed, poured, sprinkled, or sprayed on, introduced into, or otherwise applied to the human body for cleansing, beautifying, promoting attractiveness, or altering the appearance. Now, notably, this includes things like moisturizers, but not things like sunscreen or soap. They come with their own set of regulations. So in the US, the definition of a cosmetic is rather narrow. So any rules applied to cosmetics in the US have a pretty narrow scope of application. In contrast, in the UK, a cosmetic is defined as any substance or mixture intended to be placed in contact with the external parts of the human body, epidermis, hair system, nails, lips, and external genital organs, or with the teeth and the mucous membranes of the oral cavity, with a view exclusively or mainly to cleaning them, perfuming them, changing their appearance, protecting them, keeping them in good condition, or correcting body odors. Alright, so that is a much broader definition of what counts as a cosmetic. It includes soaps, deodorants, toothpastes, etc., as well as more traditional cosmetics like skincare and makeup. So any laws regulating cosmetics in the UK are going to apply to a much wider array of products. Okay, so in the US, the Food and Drug Administration, or the FDA, is tasked with regulating the cosmetics industry. However, as we discussed in my video I did with SLMD over on my YouTube channel all about ingredients regulations, go check that out after this one, the power that the FDA has over controlling the products is actually quite limited. They can't order a recall on any cosmetics, and new products do not need pre-approval from the FDA before going to market. In the US, cosmetics companies then are highly self-regulated, meaning it's up to them to make sure that their cosmetics are safe, and if they're not, recall them or fix them so that they are. This means that there could technically be some rather harmful chemicals in your cosmetics that you wouldn't necessarily know about unless the cosmetic company itself issues a warning or recall. Okay, so while the FDA's power is relatively limited related to hazardous chemicals and harmful products, it does have two areas where it has more regulatory power: in adulterated substances and in misbranded substances. Adulterated substances are ones which have been made in an unsafe and unclean facility, or a product which has gone bad, like it's rotten, it's hazardous because it's been allowed to go bad, or was made from ingredients that already had gone bad. In that case, the FDA can take legal action against companies by filing lawsuits in court asking judges to order a recall of products and ban companies from selling products. And that makes sense because it's pretty egregious if a company is knowingly selling putrid moisturizer or something, you know? Okay, so in addition to the adulterated substances, the FDA also has control over misbranded substances, and that's where labeling requirements come into play. And the FDA has quite a bit of control in this area. Okay, so to start, cosmetics companies are required to list all the ingredients in the cosmetics in order of how much is in the formulation, just like with food labels. So the first ingredient is the largest quantity, the second ingredient on the list has the second largest quantity, etc. If the cosmetic is a cosmeceutical, which is an unofficial word used to describe cosmetics that also treat something, so like a moisturizer that also treats acne, for example, where there's a cosmetic application but also a drug application, then those medical ingredients have to be listed first as the active ingredients, like salicylic acid, for example, and then afterwards the rest of the non-medicinal ingredients are listed. However, there are two instances where a company does not have to list all the ingredients in the United States. If a mixture of ingredients together is used as a fragrance, the company can just list fragrance and does not need to list out the individual ingredients that make up the fragrance. So for example, in SLMD's glycolic acid body scrub, if you buy the product in the US, the ingredients list says fragrance, whereas if you buy the product in the UK, the ingredients list includes the various components of the fragrance to comply with each country's laws. In the second scenario, where a company in the US doesn't have to list out the ingredients in a cosmetic, the company can submit an application to the FDA to request to be allowed to keep some ingredients secret, which may sound nefarious at first, but usually companies do this so that they can protect their trade secrets. You know, they don't necessarily want to give away their secret formula, especially if the ingredient is particularly unique, and disclosing it on the label would give competitors an advantage. This involves a process where the company has to submit an application to the FDA reviews it to see if the use of this ingredient is actually a genuine trade secret or if it's just the company trying not to have to list everything for other reasons. And then if the FDA approves, then the company can just list other ingredients on the label instead of those specific ingredients that it wants to keep as a trade secret. All right, and then the ingredients have to be listed in a conspicuous place on the packaging that an ordinary customer would actually look at when purchasing, and it must be at least 1/16 of an inch high unless the company applies for special permission to make it smaller, and it must not be obscured by designs, vignettes, or crowding. Okay, so the packaging has to be labeled with proper ingredients. However, there are also requirements as to the claims made on the packaging. If the packaging claims to treat something, it's a cosmeceutical, meaning it's a cosmetic that goes above and beyond just making you look better and claims to treat something like acne. The chemical on the product, let's say salicylic acid for example, is considered a drug and is therefore regulated differently than a pure cosmetic. However, something like salicylic acid is already recognized as a safe and effective drug to be used for acne treatment, so as long as it's on the label in a conspicuous place, it's good to go. No further FDA approval is necessary. The problem that companies can run into is if they claim something that they've created treats something, but that drug hasn't been approved by the FDA for that use. Then they'll get slapped with an FDA warning letter or worse. The Federal Trade Commission also gets involved as well because there could be issues with truth in advertising if a company starts making claims that their products fix or cure or treat things when the drug hasn't been approved for those uses. So cosmetic companies in the US need to tread lightly when it comes to untested drugs and making claims about what they can and can't do, and making sure that nothing on the packaging or labeling of their product is false or misleading. In the UK, there are similar requirements for listing of ingredients and labeling. There is no specific font size requirement for the ingredients list so long as the font is legible and visible on the packaging. Where things differ slightly in the UK is with regards to those pesky cosmeceuticals again, where things go beyond just basic cosmetics, meaning they are not just meant to improve the appearance but are instead meant to treat an ailment. That's where greater regulation comes into play. Now, unlike in the US, the UK considers a cosmetic to also be a drug and therefore subject to greater regulations when that product even makes claims on its face to be a treatment for something. So even if the cosmetic formulation itself wouldn't necessarily be considered medicinal, if the packaging claims that it's a treatment, then it's subject to regulation as if it were medicinal. This is why in the US you can purchase SLMD's product Salicylic Acid Spot Treatment, but in the UK that same product is called Salicylic Acid Spot Corrector. Calling it a spot treatment, even though the formulation isn't technically medicinal, would require greater regulation above and beyond cosmetic labeling requirements. Additionally, even though SLMD is focused on helping people manage their blemishes, I mean, it was literally founded by Dr. Pimple Popper, they cannot use the word acne in their UK products because it could be interpreted by the UK government as making medicinal claims. So in the US, you can purchase SLMD's acne system, but in the UK, it's called the SLMD Blemish Prone Skin System. Wild. Okay, but this is different than something that is meant to be preventative. Preventative is fine in the UK, and it isn't considered medicinal. So a package can make a claim that something like SLMD's retinol serum is preventative and that it prevents wrinkles. But a package can't make a claim that something cures or treats something without first being approved and regulated as a drug. So next time you're walking around the cosmetics aisles or taking a trip across the pond, maybe you'll have a keener eye to spot the differences and how each company has labeled the products, how they've named the product, and what they've included and what they haven't included on the packaging. Thank you so much for watching. Reminder to head over to my YouTube channel, Legia Miller, to watch my video I partnered with SLMD on all about ingredients requirements on cosmetics in the US and UK. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day. Bye-bye.